and you never know when that is going to drop, but it appears to have done so now. Hello, this is episode 231 of Double Feature Horror Show. I'm Proper Horror Show. I'm joined by my co-host Murgoot, and TCG is due to drop in shortly. How you doing, folks? We've got a special one tonight. We've got a requested film, and I don't want to set the precedent, but this film was requested repeatedly and passionately. And I thought, you know what? We've got a spare evening this month. Let's do it. We did a good body horror arc. We did a double feature of that with the Blob. Did two versions of the Blob. Why not? I'm not gonna steal anyone's thunder in this. I'm not shortchanging you on body horror. We'll do it. And so tonight we are covering that request. The Georgia-produced English language film Landmine Goes Click from 2015. Murgoot, had you ever seen Landmine Goes Click?
I'd never even heard of it before last week. So it was totally new. I knew it would be a bottle film. It's similar to some of the other ones out there. Cell, stuff like that. It's the setup, the trailer, everything said, yeah, this is going to be nice and tense. But we'll get into that later.
We will. I mean, I have said to people, this has utterly divided the panel. We're in all the quadrants on this. But, TCG not being here means I get to poison the well, or, as I said backstage, perfume the well. I'm going to be defending the heck out of this film. I can already see from the comments that people are split on it. Joe, not a fan. Dylan, who requested it, a big fan. Distant Night, a big fan. And Lawrence has not seen it. So I'll be interested in how you come out on this one, Lawrence. And now, before TCG arrives and before we really get into it, I'll do all the usual YouTube stuff. You know how it goes, folks. I have, an addiction to Old Speak Bookshop and Grandma Towler's tea to support here. So do help me out. If you want to support the channel, you can do so via Super Chats or joining as a member either here on YouTube or on Subscribestar. I felt a little stilty doing that. You got to remember, guys, I'm English. I can't chill. I can't do it. It feels wrong. Anyway, if you join as a member here or on Subscribestar, you get exclusive content. You get to have a film of your choice covered. And you also get to vote on the arc that we are covering. And the members have chosen a rather impressive arc this time. I'm very happy. This time, I was not wrong. I did not get it wrong. Members chose what I hoped they would. We've got some great stuff coming up for that. So we'll announce the next arc at the end of the stream. As for examples of those wonderful super chats, they've already come early. Two wonderful folks who always get them in super early. Distant Night, great patron of the show, and once again doing the screen caps for me, which is super, super appreciated. I will say, if this stream ends a tad early, I was immobilized for a few hours in the day by a migraine, which was extremely unpleasant, but I'm feeling okay-ish to stream now, so we're going to give it a go. But Distant Night did the screen caps, which saved, a ton of time and is super, super appreciated. So thank you again for that, Distant Night. Thank you also for $5 saying, there ain't no signal. There never was. I faked it. How's it feel? I switched act. I don't know why I did that accent mid, but it kind of felt right, didn't it? I think we'll go with it. They don't rescue whores. I love that line, man. I loved it. Thank you very much, Distant Night. We agreed on this film. I know I've got another defender here. And also, Lawrence got in. Like button goes click. Very true. Very true. Thank you for the £2 and for reminding me something I always forget. Please do like the stream. If you don't want to chuck any cash my way, that's absolutely fine. Massive love for anyone who does, but if you don't have the cash, don't worry about it. But do please like the stream, and even better, if you know someone who likes horror movies and who doesn't mind excessive depth discussions, I say excessive depth, you know, if people just want a little more than an algo-friendly 20-minute discussion, you know, send them my way. That's super appreciated. Thank you again, Lawrence. And with that done, I'd say link. Yeah, I think that's kind of everything, isn't it? Yeah. Links to TCG and Murgoot's channels are in the description. Murgoot, anything of interest this week?
No. I'm just watching the news. Everybody discussing the red-blue discussion, watching Iran, watching people freak out and cheer about Trump almost being assassinated. I'm just watching and going, the world is screwed.
This is why we have this cozy little space away from that, with only vague allusions to it, where we can have a nice cozy Georgian film about some horrific violation. And joining us for the discussion, hello TCG.
All right.
He's moody. He's looking ready to drop a sick diss.
You only said that because you know I've been talking about why is my computer doing that? Hello, wake up, come on. You know I'm only I'm only like that because I've been listening to a bunch of my old stuff lately, mate. Man, this is not the Landmine movie that I wanted.
No.
Oh.
I mean, it was like was a landmine in it. There's almost nothing to do with the plot, but it is in there.
But it was just peak poop, really. I'm sorry, I did not like this. This was not my cup of tea. Dylan, don't start. I'm gonna start. Oh, I am gonna start. I thought I was gonna get a good Landmine movie here, right? And I got nothing. And I didn't get what I wanted. I didn't get what I wanted. His characters are stupid. The script is stupid. The plot is full of, like, I don't know, landmine-sized holes.
Okay, I'll be interested in those, certainly. I'm liking Dr. Prepper calling this a Georgian film. We like that reference.
And just remember, Georgia the country, not Georgia the state.
What's the difference?
Community fans rejoicing.
It's not even about sensitivity. Like, I'm sure we will get into it, but man, it's not my sensibilities that were offended. Let me tell you.
Ooh, okay. I am very interested in that.
Okay.
Before we got here, we asked in Murgoot, never seen it before. I will say this is just one of those ones that I kind of scrolled past on, I'm searching Prime's horror movies. I'm like, oh, good title. I hadn't had any buzz for this at all. So this came out of nowhere. How about yourself, DCG?
Yeah, I hadn't heard of it at all. First time hearing about it was last week when you said, let's crack on.
Yeah. Well, you know me, man. I like to reward channel members.
Who suggested this? Who suggested this?
Dylan Roth.
Dylan. Well, I'll tell you what. It was look. Do you know what? It was a good suggestion, and I am up for everything that is thrown my way. This film, I will say, to its credit, the opening scene, because you've got the image up now. Did they use like models at all?
I can confirm they did indeed use models. I checked on this. The director confirmed it in an interview.
Because there was a really clever bit, I think, where you see their car sort of driving up the road, and it is them in the car. But it still looks like a model.
They do a blind cut. It's great.
It is really good.
It's
great, proper seamless. So yeah, it was proper seamless, and I really, really like that. Unfortunately,
it keeps you wondering, doesn't it? You're like, hang on, is that? And then they get closer and closer to the point where I thought, okay,
Yeah,
we're really going to be able to tell. And then
that
it
was
was the people. I was like, oh,
yeah, I was like, when did that happen? Like, because it did look like little figures and like little like toy buildings and things like that. So I
confirmed
thought that
toy
was
buildings.
yeah, it's brilliant. I remember when I went to the Isle of Wight with the family. There was like a little town, like little miniature village, like there's a village within a village, and it just really reminded me of that. It was really clever, like the little detail, and it looked great. It did look great, and yeah, that transition was really seamless. And I was hooked at that point. Like I was like, okay, let's go. And
They
it
beat
gets to
Hereditary to it. Eh?
yeah.
3 years ahead of Hereditary.
Yeah. A tilt shift shot. Okay.
No, Chopsticks. I can confirm it is a model. The director confirmed model. But it is. It was confusing. I thought, is it CGI? No, it is genuinely a model. Oh man, I can see people are split on this.
Yeah,
All
yeah.
right.
We were talking a little briefly about it last night when I was streaming Metal Gear, because I didn't want to talk too much about it because obviously we're talking about it here. But even in there, like there was obviously not that I have loads of people that attend those streams because it's on a little baby channel. But even then, like there was a little bit of division and difference of opinion.
We like that. We like that. I'm going to try and bring you up. You know, you can try and bring me down. I mean, I've already taken a massive L in the ratings functions recently. I was singing the praises of Scream 7 to Adam Loves Horror, and you know, man, the more I think about it,
yeah,
I think he might have been right. I think I shouldn't have been raising him up. I should have been dropping burgers.
Should have been, especially with the whole sort of angle, which was obvious what they were going to go with but I still think Stu lives. I still think Stu's alive, and
well, I couldn't convince you guys on society, so all's fair.
True. Yeah, I feel like you were massively. I think you had good reasons for it. Like you were closer to it, and it spoke to you, and we're just like a couple of Brit bongs.
Yeah.
Who just don't have that connection. So
80s American humor is very different from 40 years of humor drift. But
yeah. Well, for anyone who noticing we're 13 minutes in, for anyone who did not watch a fairly obscure 2015 Georgian horror movie, which somehow is on YouTube.
Yep.
It's on Plex. Dissident Night very rightly pointed out that it was on Amazon Prime as well, which was marvelous for me because it saved me having to go through the Plex ads. So
yeah,
I was like,
that's where I saw it. Chopsticks, genuinely, the model shots are really good and really enjoyable. I'm not super sure why he did that, other than no budget for helicopter. But it also does like add this weird kind of unreal element to it that's quite interesting. Plus, it kind of fits in with the theme of something not really being a genuine article a couple of times. But for anyone who did not do it, and apologies, Lawrence, we are spoiling the entire movie for you. So I hope you enjoy it. What the heck happens in Landmine Goes Click?
Okay, so the film, I'll try and do the Guinness Pint summary here. So it's obviously set in Georgia. There are 3 people, Daniel, Alicia, and Chris. Daniel and Alicia are scheduled to be getting married, and Chris is the best man of Daniel. However, you find out very early on that Chris and Alicia had I presume a one-time thing, and Daniel doesn't know about it. And so there is a conversation while Daniel was off doing whatever between Chris and Alicia as to whether they should tell the truth and spill the beans. Alicia's very firm in the camp that no, what happened. It's not going to happen again. so we should just move on from it. And Chris is like, okay. And so they're having a little hike around the field, and I think there's a reference to landmines made by Daniel as they're having a
Long
little
discussion of Russians invading, which I
Yeah.
found very interesting.
Yeah. And then the next morning happens, and you have some really random Georgian guy who we later find out is
Whoa.
called
Are you
Debbie.
skipping over the best scene in the movie?
I'm definitely skipping over that scene.
Oh, okay. He just watches.
Yeah.
More like Landmine Goes Click. Am I right?
Way! But yeah, so
That made me happy.
Daniel and Alicia get jiggy with it. Chris is sitting there watching with his cuck stall anyway. Next morning, this guy is rummaging through a bag. Chris is like, hey, stop it. You're stealing, yada, yada, yada. It turns out he's not stealing. He's actually like a guide for the three of them on their little hiking adventure.
Looks like the Heavy from Team Fortress 2.
Yep. And so before they go on their way, there's a bit of a misunderstanding between Chris and Devi, which I believe his name is. And so they shake hands and, all is forgotten. And just before they set on their way, someone goes, I think it was Daniel, was like, hey, we should get a photograph. We should get a photo. And so Daniel, Alicia, and Chris all get together. Debbie holds the camera up. Oh, take one step to the left, he says. And he takes one step to the left, or to the right, rather, his right. And he takes one too many steps, and you hear click. Uh-oh, Chris has stood on a landmine. And I imagine that's where we're going to pick it up, because now we are at the point where, actually, we're already at the point. Yeah, we're already at the point now where I have problems.
You liked it up to this bit, right?
Up to this point, I liked it. I didn't get the landmine movie that I was hoping to get. That's my problem. I did not like the fact that I didn't get my landmine movie. I was hooked up to this point.
I liked this bit where it looks like he's showing her a Hitler edit.
Yeah. They go off to try and find a phone signal.
Yeah.
To try and phone for help. Devi has also run off to go and find help, but he's going to be gone for a few hours because he's got to run back to the town. Yeah, Daniel's phone goes off, and they're like, "Oh my god, try again." He's like, "Shut up, ho."
He does this kind of he does this unreal scenario where he manages to get someone. They speak English. He can talk regular American English.
Yeah,
and then you're already like, really, and then he's like, oh wait, they don't rescue whores.
Yeah.
Oh, there's some good whores in this one. They roll the R. They really get the mouth feel on the whore.
Was it Joe Budden and Joe Budden's albums? There's some whores in this house. There's some whores in this house. Yeah. There's a lot of that.
Oh, it's good.
Turns out Chris revealed everything to Daniel.
So you were here. You were with it at this point, right?
I'm here at this point.
Good. So like the first horse match.
Yes and no. Actually, no. I am with it at this point. I'm still invested at this point. Okay, because I'm like, okay, his best friend's on a landmine. Who presumably confessed to him the night before about everything that happened. Okay, maybe I don't want to help my friend. Maybe actually I want him to blow up. Maybe I do. Okay, I'm still in. I'm like, okay, this is what I'm signed. This is what I've signed up for. This is the film. This is the film I want to watch. Yeah. Right? They go back. He walks off to the back. He grabs a shovel. Where did you get the shovel from? Okay. Well, dig a hole. And I'm thinking, a bit weird, but okay. Like, you just brought a shovel with you. Maybe he packed it with him. That's fine. But why isn't it with his bag? Why is it just like hidden away in a bush somewhere? Okay. And then it turns out that actually, no, the landmine isn't like an old World War II landmine, or it wasn't there since World War II. Devi and Daniel have conspired the whole thing. The landmine was set up as a trap for this guy. And I'm thinking, okay, we have two problems. because I don't recall when the when the confession was established. So, if it was before they went away, why are Alicia and Chris having a conversation about telling him?
Yeah.
Okay, so why is that
think I'm
conversation
with you.
happening? Presumably, Daniel would have already known and confronted Alicia, unless, you know, this was a whole conspiracy thing. But then Chris would have turned around to Alicia and said, I told him everything. And she'd be like, well, that's a bit odd. Why not? Okay. And then if it was the night before, how the fuck did they get this all set up at this time? Like the ground undisturbed the way it was, yada, 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 and all this stuff. But I can forgive that. It's a reach, but I can forgive it, right? Daniel bails. Daniel's see you later.
He just no scopes out the movie.
He literally
He's off. Here we go. Yeah. This...
Now, Devi. Sorry, I'm not done yet. Devi is like, do you not want to stay? Let's watch the fun. I reckon this guy's only got a couple of hours before he goes boom. Daniel's like, nah, not really. I want to go like some strippers and beer. Fine, whatever. That's cool. That's cool. This is the last time you see him in the film, and Devi. You never see them again. And given the way that given the direction this story goes, being a whole like revenge arc thing, which I'm sure we'll get to later, where's their comeuppance? Why don't we see them?
Yeah. All right. So I'm with you.
It just really annoyed me. It really annoyed me. And then I have another problem because later on, we'll get to all the bits, but I just need to get this out of the way. Right? The landmine is a dud. So if the landmine is a dud, right? I say a dud, like presumably it's a fake landmine, right? Because the guy's like, because the Ilya, whatever his name was, Ilya is like, it's a fake landmine, right?
It's emailed, it's a blink.
Yeah, right. But it doesn't go. So why would Devi want to sit and watch a landmine explode when it's presumed that they knew it wouldn't explode?
Maybe okay. All right. Let's do these. These are good. These are real questions. They're good. I'm gonna have trouble defending some of them. As you may have guessed, folks, I'm gonna be simping for this movie. Not super high, but I enjoyed this. TCG less convinced, and Murgoot
I just wanted my landmine movie. That's all I wanted. I wanted my landmine movie. Everything that happens with Ilya, right? It could have been Daniel who done all that. It could have been Daniel.
Oh,
and Devi. Daniel and Devi. That's what. If it wasn't this Georgian dude, right? This random guy walking along with his dog, and it was Daniel and Devi who were doing all of this, mate, this would have been an absolute masterpiece. I would have loved it.
Shit. Okay, I think you're right. Now that you've put that in my head, not Danny, but if Danny went off and Devi's just like, you know what, mate, I know this bar, go get drunk. I'm glad to have done that for you. And Devi comes back.
Yeah, maybe.
That would have improved it for me massively.
But I still think Daniel being there as again, because this is a torture porn film, right? This is a torture porn film. So Daniel completely loses it, right? How dare he be betrayed by his wife to be and his best friend, right? That is the ultimate betrayal. So, you know, how fitting would it be that he would put them through such a torturous experience for it? And, you know, Devi's there. He's like the hired help, you know. That for me would have been so much more of a better film.
I hear that. Like, okay, so maybe we're expecting different things. Like, I thought the beauty of what does happen when George and Danny Baker turns up to go. I mean, if you haven't seen it, by the way, for Brit Bongers, you see it, right?
Oh my God. All of a sudden, I'm getting Daz adverts in my head.
Yeah. I couldn't unsee either Danny Baker or Ron Jeremy.
I am mate, that's their love child, isn't it?
Oh God. Just my thoughts on the first half of the movie. The first 10 minutes were interesting. The betrayal was kind of telegraphed. First 10 minutes were decent. the next 30 minutes bored me to tears, and then it ramped up.
Mm.
And the shovel was a big sticking point, but I figured Davy brought the mine, and later on, Davy brought the shovel and the landmine out during the night, and that's why he was there rummaging through the pack. I forgave that one.
Well, I thought he was rummaging through the pack because they were looking for a camera or something.
Yeah, I think he wanted to make sure they didn't have anything that could help them, like a radio or anything. But then again, as it's a fake landmine. Okay, so let's isolate to this bit. So the question is, how does Danny know, and how does this scheme work? That is probably a genuine plot hole. I think, like, there's no way he's managed to get this all together if he were literally told, like, the night before. If that is the real answer, then we have a terrible plot hole. So it's got to be that he was told long before, giving long enough in advance, like, say they're already out here and committed, and so Danny thinks, while we're out here, sod it, I'm calling Debbie, we'll make this happen.
Yeah. But then it presents the problem with the first conversation that Chris
I would have to rewatch that and know, like, okay, so what is Chris thinking when he sees Danny still propose to her despite that? Did Danny make a big show of, actually, it's cool, man, I forgive her? But in which case, why is Chris still pressuring, what's her name, Alicia?
Alicia, yeah.
Why is he still pressuring Alicia to tell?
Well,
I think we actually have a plot hole.
I can explain that. So Chris is pressuring Alicia to tell the truth purely because he feels guilty about what happened. It's pretty established in that scene when they had that conversation in the car while Daniel was away. He just feels guilty and he wants to come clean to his best mate. So again, that's fine. That's fine. But so that can only mean that the confession could not have happened before the trip. It had to have been that night while everyone was asleep, while Alicia was asleep. He must have confessed everything that night, which would only leave a limited amount of time for Debbie to set up the mine and stuff like that. And what you got bearing in mind, excuse me, you got they would have been disturbed. It would have been a noise, rackets, and all that stuff. Because it's got like sort of landmine out, for Christ's sake. You got to sort of dig around, and you got to be disturbing. Again, I can forgive that.
Laying out the chain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can, but I can forgive it. I can forgive that if it just kept Daniel and Debbie in this film throughout. That's my point.
They were fun.
Yeah, they were fun, but yeah, they were fun. They were good. And the thing is, as soon as that conversation happened in the car, I was like, right, okay, that's going to be a conflict. That's going to be
a resolve this about 40 minutes into the movie. The truth is going to come out.
Or it's going to be exactly about 2/3 of the way they're trying to help, yada yada yada, and then I don't know, maybe Chris decides, fudge it, I'm going to come clean, I'm going to die anyway, and then obviously then you get the conflict. Okay, do I actually want to save him or not? He's done this, so it can all go Pete Tong, all go down south from there, right? It could all go down south from there, but it's just the fact that he puts him in that situation, goes. And then the things that you would if you'd want to have these characters, Daniel and Debbie, being the ones hurting these two in the way that Ilya does, because it would be more emotionally impactful. Because this is a person who these two presumably trusted, but betrayed. This guy feels betrayed. There's more emotional investment in that sort of like. That downfall, if you will, than just random drunk George and walking his dog.
I'm glad they didn't go full exploitation later in the movie, because with the dog there and Ilya forcing Alicia to go pick up her dirty panties with her mouth, act like a dog, I was half expecting an off-screen bestial rape.
Oh, okay.
I was
Okay.
expecting
Dog
something on
pill?
the scale of the Serbian film.
Woo.
If you know,
I'm
you know.
glad they didn't go that direction. Let's
Yeah.
just say that.
Okay.
What was it
I
I said?
think-
You write about planting vegetables and ploughing some dogs, I think I said. Yeah.
The worst song we ever did on this channel.
I don't know about that.
Anyway, okay, look, I'm not gonna lie, you got me. That is a brutal plot hole that I have to invent a lot of nonsense to cover up. I would have to have like Danny knows in advance and is just like a bit of a sick dude and is happy to have that. But and it's just Chris confirms it to him when he already knows. Like, I'm having to stretch this quite a lot to make it work, so I'll give it to you. Part of the thing is that the landmine largely does not matter because this film turns into two different films, as we'll get onto.
It pulls a
It
Hancock.
completely swings. The landmine is just a plot device to make the man powerless. And it's like, so why did Danny and Devi not stick around even though they're great characters? I think from their minds they wanted to see Danny's not awful. Like he's been horribly betrayed and he's like, okay, I'm gonna really screw with them. But to his mind, all he's doing is like making them freak out and stress out for several hours together. And ultimately they're going to fail and realize, oh, it was a dud. And feel okay. So he's not like a total monster. It's just like Ilya turning up is like this unplanned element.
I am convinced that they both thought it was a live landmine. That's the thing that bugs me. Again, is I think they were convinced, and again, I feel like the landmine being a dud is the way it is, just so they can get to the next stage of just to get to the third act of the story.
I will disagree with that. I'm pretty sure that they know, because Danny's not that bad a guy. I mean, they work for the Red Cross. Devi's a Red Cross guy. Would he really want to blow someone up with a landmine?
I mean, it would be ironic.
I mean, yeah. Okay.
I mean, he seems quite excited to stay around.
Scandal.
Why would?
But
again, why would he want to stay from a safe distance as well? It's not like
he'd want to watch them freaking out. I think that's it. Like, no one likes a cheating whore. Am I right, guys? Am I right? But they'll get like an hour's entertainment and then go and entertain themselves. But I think the whole thing about them knowing it's a fake is a way of solving a writing problem. Because like you, I was watching this, and when Chris activates it, he steps on, activates it, landmine goes click.
Yeah.
And there's a big, oh, whoa, what do? And I thought, when Danny reveals that he planned it all, I'm like, well, hang on, how do you know Chris doesn't immediately freak out and step off the mine and blow you all up? Stupid plan.
My other problem.
But then they have the bit about the chain. The chain arms it. I'm like, oh, good planning.
Yeah.
And
that was once I figured that out, I was like, yeah, that's a big problem, because if the pin is in, the plunger won't go down.
Okay.
So is that okay? Holding on that. Gosh darn it.
That's more okay. That's like more of a mechanical issue. That's like Harrion and the gun and the bulletisms.
Not that I don't really appreciate that. That is fantastic.
It's legit. It's legit.
Okay.
But again,
if the thing is, like, he's got to show them arming it, that maybe stops them later working out, well, hang on, why would he get on a real landmine in case I immediately set it off? So he's stopping them working out it's fake by picking up on the potential plot hole that I did, if that makes sense.
Okay.
Like, they would later on just say, well, No, he wouldn't get me on a landmine because I can immediately set it off and kill him. He doesn't want that.
Yeah, equally, they
the show
equally they could think, hang on, I banged my best mate's bird. He's probably lost his mind. Otherwise, he wouldn't have put me on a landmine. How do I know he hasn't gone that far and put me on a live one? You just don't know, because again, now they are dealing with the unknown at that point, because this is a person they knew, loved, respected. Well, I say respected, but
Alicia's too stupid to live.
Changed.
Everybody keeps telling her to go behind the rock, and she refuses. I want to help. I want to help. Finish digging the trench. Let him dive for it while you're hiding behind a rock, so it doesn't bounce up and kill you too. She's too stupid to live.
I mean, Lakey's got a good point here. So, but Murgoot, can I ask about this thing? So, for anyone wondering about the engineering of a landmine, but just tell people, what is the problem with this?
In a way that doesn't get you arrested, Murgoot.
Yes, we are in the UK.
Similar to a grenade, you pull the pin, it's armed, and okay. Well, here's the mine. Here's the plunger.
Yeah,
here's
Keir Starmer's travel
there's a
route,
rod on
right?
there's a rod on the plunger that goes down. The pin keeps it fixed.
Would it block it?
You pull the pin, the plunger comes up a little bit, and it's available to trigger.
Right.
In, it can't go down enough to be armed.
Got ya. So,
right.
Ilya mentions that. Actually, I just wanted to check this as well, because obviously I don't know the bloody thing about landmines. I'm not Princess Diana. But he says that if it was a real landmine, the moment he stepped on it, it would have exploded. Are there landmines that if you can step on it and it won't go off until you've effectively lifted off?
Until you pull your... Yeah. That's how they generally... The older ones used to go off immediately.
Right.
Later ones from Vietnam War onwards, they had the safety of you hear the click, you stop until somebody comes in, digs it out, and disarms it. It's a safety feature that was added later.
Right. So again, there's another forgivable. Don't get me wrong. I'm not like it sounds like I'm nitpicking, but again, it's just another little bit of the film where he's like, if it was real landmine, you step and it boom, as opposed to So
that's the really old
real
stuff.
Landmine,
the East Germans, well, they're German.
Yeah,
it was specified it was an East German mine, and well, the Germans are very precise, very technical, and very paranoid.
Although I know they mentioned a specific type of landmine, so I wouldn't be surprised if it was a type of landmine, like you say, you step on it and boom.
Yeah, I mean, they're talking DDR, so that's quite a while ago. Sorry, East Germany. Yeah. So it might very well be one of those. But again, in that situation, would Chris know that? Would Alicia know that? Would even Daniel and Devi know that, really? Do you know what I mean? Like, there's a most likely Devi
just because he went through the Russian invasion and he knows about the landmine patterns, and he's a Red Cross.
Yeah, so maybe Devi, but actually, was Daniel a Red Cross as well?
I think they did meet volunteering and Red Cross. That's what they said at the start.
Yeah, I think they did. Yeah. So maybe they might have known it was a dud, but it still doesn't change things for me in that respect.
Yeah.
All it does is it just justifies the move from the second to the third act. That's literally all it does.
Yeah. Does it also help explain why? I just thought it explains why Danny's such such an asshole in like openly leaving the tent door open. He's like, yeah, Chris is going to like this one.
Maybe.
And
But again,
can I
like, does
tell
he?
you
But does he
something?
know? But does he know at that point? That's what I'm
I
saying.
think he's got. He has to know.
He might have suspicions. He might
I'm
have
trying to
suspicions.
make the movie make sense, and I can't do it unless he knows in advance somehow. And
Yeah,
Chris just confesses unnecessarily.
Then again, they should have rewrote that conversation between Chris and Alicia if that was the case. I think.
Yeah, I'm going to
Didn't
give you
know.
that 100%.
Maybe.
I thought some of the writing in this bit was really quite nice. You know, there's a fair bit of improvisation here. Some of these actors are quite experienced. Like Alicia, you may recognize from the Resident Evil series. She played Kmart in 2 of the films.
Okay.
No,
She weren't. I wasn't really digging the acting.
Yeah.
I will say Chris in
Knees
the third
going
act, though, when
down.
he was doing
Yes,
the old
that
psycho
is a
Joker thing.
hilarious scene with Don Rickles.
Yeah, but
I do not know it.
But
Yeah.
By the way, can I
it's-
show this out here? Maybe the other plot hole. She sleeps with Chris. Like she's already with Danny. I don't know. I don't see it.
no.
That
Well,
feels a little
Chris
bit
is a
screenwriter
baby-faced
fantasy.
asshole.
I mean, maybe I'm, revealing my own prejudices here, but I don't see it. I see it the other way round.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
he comes round to deliver some pizza, extra sausage.
But yeah, I mean, Chris does sound
She's
quite
trying
effeminate.
to fix up the washing machine. She gets stuck. She's got this beautiful lemon tree. Who knows what could happen? You know?
Chris looks
But Chris-
baby-faced and innocent, but he's the biggest prick of the 3 of them.
Hmm.
He wants to spoil the marriage. He wants to spoil the fun. His roaring rampage of revenge is too cold for it to be
Justified.
anything else.
No, not justified. Just the wrong word.
It's justified, but I got the feeling that Chris was a psychopath within 20 minutes of the start of the movie.
He's certainly like an asshole ruiner. Like I don't feel he has this
Phrasing.
intense love. Oh, apologies. We're gonna meet the
Are you
asshole
still thinking
ruiner
about
later.
that plumber visit?
Sorry.
Picture in your head.
You bend? No, you bend.
You bend.
Oh, that seal's gone, baby.
Oh no.
Etc. Oh dear. Right, let's family-friendly stream. Gosh, I mean, where to take this? I do think this is one of those cases where someone who's meant to be sympathetic is maybe unintentionally just no. If you think about it, he's just awful.
Well, yeah.
Like,
I mean,
he's not. I don't feel like he's deeply in love with Alicia. I think he is just like wants to wreck the thing.
I don't think that. I
Like,
genuinely
no.
don't think that. I think for
Huh?
him, it's more of just clearing his conscience. I don't see psychopath or anything like that at the beginning. I think this is a guy just genuinely racked with guilt.
But like selfish. I'm
Selfish,
sure.
yeah, it's selfish,
could-
absolutely,
yeah.
because ultimately he doesn't respect Alicia's wishes
No.
in not telling, in not confessing, because he goes and does it.
Mm.
And again, whether it's before the trip, after the trip, it doesn't matter. The point is he does that. And either way you look at it, let's say hypothetically that confession came before the trip. He's not telling Alicia that Daniel knows. That's bad.
Yeah.
Equally, they've had the conversation. She said, don't say anything. He's agreed and still told him. That's bad.
Mm. Yes.
He hasn't pre-warned her. He hasn't, either way, he hasn't given her forewarning, like, you better know Daniel knows. He seems unusually chill about it. You might want to just, keep an extra eye on him, sleep with one eye open, maybe. He might be pissed. I don't know. He seems too accepting of it. I didn't realize he was Sneeko.
Yeah.
There's some
He's
lore
not a
in this.
psychopath. He's a sociopath. He's a wrecker. He sees something that he wants. He's utterly selfish. I think he confessed just to wreck things, and then
Yeah, sort of on the low level, I think he was jealous, and yeah, he feels guilty, but also he wanted to get out of his system. Whereas, like, really, if it's a one-off, it's like it can be a mistake. You can let it go. I mean, are you really? I don't feel he's doing it for like
He's not doing it to win
Danny
Alicia.
to say like, Danny, watch out, mate. This one is a hoe.
Yeah,
You cannot
yeah.
make her into a housewife. Kanye tried. Kanye failed.
Brilliant.
It cannot be done. I do think, yeah, it's a very selfish thing, and that helps explain the swing into the third transformation of the movie, which we'll get to far later. But before we go much further, and I will have to go and turn my light on. I called this stream "What is a Bottle Movie." We should probably talk about that 45 minutes into the movie, as is it? Yes, in these goings down is given a perfect segue to it. Yes. So I've called "What is a Bottle Movie." I think people have heard of bottle episodes, which are typically done in a TV series where you want to save a bit of money. So you've got like a big, what they call a wham episode on TV tropes, where you've got a load of big budget blow off. So you will save a ton of money by having an episode basically take place in one location. So you don't have to switch up your filming rigs all that much. You don't have to build any new sets. You can ideally do it with just a couple of characters. You can film it quick and cheap. Many cases of this.
What's the movie where Ryan Reynolds is buried alive, and it's from his point of view for most?
Buried,
yeah.
2009. Yes, yeah. I am loving that. I'm also loving chat's on fire tonight. I love it.
Oh, mate. It's just Chloe dead naming Yay in the Big 26. Shakes my head.
Dr. Prepper is also on fire.
Yeah, these hoes ain't loyal, my wigger.
So true. So true. Yeah.
Bottle film as well.
So
you lot are informed.
TV show. It's one thing for a TV show to do, and they're quite known. It's such a well-known phenomenon that you get even like wonderful parodies of bottle episodes in Community did an amazing parody of them. But the bottle movie is a little bit rarer. That's a brave proposition, because you can fill 30 minutes to 45 minutes quite easily. The Twilight Zone is quite notorious for it. Some episodes more successful than others. If you look at the season 2 premiere, that is quite painful. They have one plain desert set, and that's the longest 22 minutes of your life. Oh lordy. But trying to take it to feature length with only one location, that's rough. That is a rougher one. I mean, it's not like it hasn't happened. Hitchcock's Lifeboat is one example. Rope he had a whole apartment. He switched it up. He was doing a whole other thing.
Okay. I'm just thinking of the one camera shot thing.
Yeah. They did a heck of a lot of long takes in this. Alfie would have been proud. But yeah, there are quite a few of them, and I think they disproportionately skew towards horror. So Buried, as Murgoot referenced, does anyone remember Phone Booth?
Yes. Oh my god, I love that film. Yes. That is so good.
I haven't rewatched that in a long time. Does that hold up? Like,
I haven't watched. To be fair, I haven't watched it. I only ever saw it once. I'm pretty sure it was in the cinema with my mate, and we were just absolutely gripped. It was so good, so good.
Yeah. What else we got? Open Water. We can throw in there. Exam, another one. We can't really.
Life of Pi.
Yeah.
Or not.
What about
that? A bunch of locations, largely on a boat, but they let themselves get to islands. They gave themselves a few things. Yeah, my brain is now weirdly short of them, but I had an absolute ton of them. But they do struggle. It is a tough ask to. Oh, Devil. Devil was the other one.
Right.
Now, Devil bottled it. Devil thought it was going to be M. Night Shyamalan setting the whole darn thing in an elevator.
Lawrence asks,
He couldn't do it.
Oh, bless. Lawrence asks, does cube count? I mean, they go into several cubes, but it would, yeah.
It's close, isn't it? Because it is literally the same set.
Just
and
different
they just
lights.
changed the lighting.
Yeah.
But they are kind of changing locations. So I think it's borderline, but Devil was meant to be a bottle film, but they kind of wussed out.
Thank you. East in these goings down. Thank you. I was literally thinking I was trying to think of the name. Open Water is one. I was literally just about to ask why people if people knew what the name of that film was. I was going to go, these people in a dinghy.
Great little movie. I'll throw out Gerald's Game as well.
Okay, I've not seen that.
Oh, that's a bit of a beauty.
I thought we watched it.
Oh, maybe.
We did cover it on here. Waifu and I defended the villain and said he did nothing wrong. Partially for fun, but we talked ourselves into it.
Yeah.
So it does happen, but I think what you tend to see is that a lot of movies try for it and they bail out. They can't keep it up. So Devil bailed out. This does it for a good hour and then turns into a totally different movie. And it's a tough call. Like, there are structural problems in it. Yes, for Dylan, like it. Go back and hear me and Waifu. We talked ourselves into defending Gerald. We were kind of doing it for a meme, but also
the meme was
I was kind of with it too. Anyway, this one I did get very worried.
Sympathetic villain.
Which one? Sympathetic villain. Yes.
Yeah.
Gerald Speed.
I have not seen The Shallows. So we have got quite a few of them, but it is demanding. It is very friendly for a low budget movie like this.
127 hours.
Oh, James Franco. Good call. Very good call. I haven't seen it myself, but I think the scenario means it can be in the one place, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So I got worried about this. It can be very challenging to make it to like 45 minutes as a bottle episode. But 100 and a bit minutes. So it's a rough sell, it's a tough sell, and I think you get into rough territory doing it. And so when they stepped on the landmine at 11 minutes and 58 seconds, I was like, this could be a rough one. I'm just going to get up and get my light on here because I think it's messing up the shot.
Okay, yeah, I think I don't know if I should wait. Okay.
That'll be a bit nicer.
I don't know. I mean, it can be done. It can. I think the premise for this, I think, could have been the premise of this film, I think, could absolutely be done in this sort of scenario. I just feel like the landmine in this movie was less. It was less of a problem to solve, as it was, like you mentioned earlier, a way to just make Chris utterly powerless. The fact that he couldn't do anything to protect Alicia while Ilya's like doing the things that he's doing, it does make you, the viewer, feel utterly helpless. Put yourself in Chris's shoes. But for a film that's called Landmine Goes Click, I kind of wanted the problem and solution to be more focused on getting Chris off the landmine. You can still throw in all that other stuff as well, But again, as I feel like it should have been, this is why I think Devi and Daniel should have been there. And I feel like, the whole confession thing should have happened a bit later on, because obviously that was going to be, I like that, is going to be a conflict resolution scenario. But what should have happened, it should have focused on the danger of the risks of trying to get Chris free from the landmine. Then obviously he goes like balls to the wall, like I'm gonna die, so I'm gonna confess everything. And then it sort of changes. Okay, well, now we were trying to help you, now I'm gonna hurt you. And what better way to do it than to do the
You
things.
could absolutely write it. I think we would get a more standard movie. Like you wouldn't get him onto the landmine till like 15 minutes in, and then you wouldn't like reveal it was planned by Danny for like another 15 minutes.
Well, again,
or a
I don't
bit
even.
longer, and
I don't
then
even.
you have
I
Danny
don't.
reveal and say, "No, it's a fake. It's okay. I can deactivate it." And
I
then
think
he'd realize the pin doesn't work, and it's like, "Oh crap! The joke became real. Oh no!" etc.
I personally think you could do, but I feel like it would work better if the landmine wasn't something that Daniel had planned, because it's established that the Russians were going through here, so there was always a possibility that they landmines could still be around, and that this becomes more of an opportunity for Daniel to get rid of Chris, or to like make him suffer for what he did with Alicia, and obviously, and equally Alicia suffering for the things that she done. The whole sort of like, oh, I set all this up in advance. It's like, yeah, but come on, man, it's a bit elaborate, don't you think? I can forgive it. I can forgive it. I can forgive it. It does feel a bit elaborate. I would have liked it better if this was more of an opportunistic thing. And the confession doesn't happen until he's already on the landmine, and he's like, look, I've got something to tell you. I'm bowing out, so I might as well just tell you.
Something like, he's heard and he changes the route to take them through a landmine, and he's like, you know what? I don't care what happens.
Yeah,
because the love of my life is ruined. And then he's like, oh, good, Chris, let's set it off. And then anyway, we're sort of rewriting the movie because
I think it could work. The thing is, I think it absolutely can. That's the thing. I think that's why I'm so like passionate about it, because I really, really was hoping that this would be like a potential 12 out of 12 for me. When I heard the title of the film, when I saw the opening scenes and the build up to it, it really sort of pulled me in. And I think the thing that gets me is I just didn't get the film that I was expecting to watch. It felt very different. It turned into funny games at one point, and then
I know you hate funny games.
And then it turned into John Wick.
Well,
minus the CQC, but the revenge arc. Which again, the revenge, totally on board with it. But but if we were gonna get that, we should have at least seen Devi and Daniel get it, because I know that Devi and Daniel didn't do anything to him after the fact, but it was the fact that they set that scenario up, they put him in that position, which led to the things that happened afterwards. Chris should have absolutely held them equally accountable as what Ilya actually had done.
And maybe missed the scene. Another nitpick, I may have missed the scene, but where the hell did Chris get a silenced Makarov?
Well, that's the thing. You didn't miss anything, because it's an unspecified amount of time after all of that happened that he goes back. And I even thought, like, have I missed something? Like 1 year later, and I actually checked the wiki, and it was like after an unspecified amount. I was like, okay, I didn't miss anything. He's just gone back. So, he's again, it skips over all of the sort of tracking down and all that malarkey, and just goes, right, okay, horrible, terrible things have happened to Chris and Alicia now we just need to instantly resolve that by torturing innocent people.
Well, we'll move on to that, because as I say, you thought you're getting one film, and then suddenly Ron Jeremy turns up, and this there's a scowl, but this guy's the best thing in the movie. Come on. No,
the dog, the man.
Well, that is a very good boy. We love a
good
Rotty round here. But okay, so I loved this element. Actually, the summary that you gave for people, pointed in a summary, ends before Ilya arrives. So let's let's cover this for people who didn't see the film.
Sorry. Dylan, you don't believe the family didn't suspect something? Okay.
Oh, come on, man. Dylan.
Let me tell you a story. Well, I won't tell you a story, but my boy Disturbin and his missus, they have a true crime podcast called This Case Takes Place. And I was listening to a case that they were talking about a man from Tunbridge Wells who killed 2 women in the 80s, wasn't found until 2021. And by that point, he was working in a hospital as an electrician, worked in a morgue, had a wife, 3 wives, 4 kids, and about 23 terabytes of CP and photos of himself in a morgue doing, quote, anything and everything with these people. And the police had to sit through it. Took, I think, 4 officers, I think they said, 12 months to go through 90%, just 90% of the material that he had.
You surely think you got enough after one day.
You think that, but they have to identify. They had to go through the rigmarole of trying to identify the deceased people so that they can inform the families about the things that this guy had been doing to them. The wife had no idea. The ex-wives had no idea. And this guy had been amassing like floppy disks, CDs, MP3, hard SSDs and all this stuff. Like they were literally like stuck behind walls, and like he had his own room that he would go and like watch his own stuff. He even had a bunch of like separate folders in some of the hard drives, and he made his best. He made a best of compilation from the 2000s.
Now that's what I call necro.
And obviously, you got Joseph Fritzl and his family, like the wife and stuff. They had no idea. I can believe it. Is what I'm angling at. Is I can believe it.
I think the family are genuinely innocent. Yeah, like so. Don't. I'm standing this movie for you, Dylan. Don't. Come on, help me.
This channel's family friendly status is in shambles.
True, Lawrence. True. Distant Night is sent in 20 Aussie dollars. Very much appreciated. Saying Chris likes a cheating whore. Chris is a covetous little sod. Him being a dirt plays into his desperation. True. Alicia is indecisive throughout. Thus, that plus traveling and alcohol makes her cheating with downgrade believable. I see that in my I don't know when they did it, but I imagine it was like pre-trip. But
absolutely, 100%. I would bank on it being months before the trip. But it's just because this whole wedding is like getting close, and I think Chris is starting to have second thoughts, and not second thoughts. Alicia's like steadfast. We got to get this done. We got to get it done. Get it over the line. Whereas Chris is a bit like, I don't know if I could stand there next to my best friend, knowing what we did.
Gotta swallow it, Chris. Just gotta swallow. Thank you, Distant Night. $20. Watch, like for the you gotta keep it in. Sometimes you gotta the confession. Sometimes that's just your own attempt at catharsis. But really, what you gotta do, go and be an actual best man, and no further. Right. So this guy, George and Danny Baker, arrives. His name is Ilya. In my discussions with Distant Night, I referred to him as Ron Jeremy consistently.
Brilliant.
But he rocks up with his dog, and basically from this point onwards, you are basically looking at Chekhov's sexual assault. From the minute he arrives, he is where have I've got him like here we go. From the minute he arrives, he is a bit weird. Why is he out there? What's he up to? He is off. He makes excuses to touch Alicia immediately, and he's like, "Oh, sorry." This violation is coming.
Yeah.
And it is horrible and like genuinely horrific and well done. When we get to it, it's another matter. I will say that they handle it very well. But this is a spin that the film takes because, as we say, they get on the landmine at 11 minutes, 58 seconds. I can't remember my timing, but he comes in about 12 minutes after the landmine and starts a totally new arc. And from that arc, it's about 50 minutes leading up to him sexually assaulting and violating her. And it is a new type of horror, and I found it really effective.
Yeah.
Because kind of as we discussed, the landmine is 100% incidental. This is one of the bigger problems of the movie. The landmine really is there thematically, but the only point of it is that Chris has to be immobilized.
Yeah.
Because it activates a deep instinctual horror, very much like Speak No Evil, that you're almost in like, I'm sorry to go Peterson, but you're almost in like sacred archetypes here. Like the woman's purity, the man's protection. I know in the case of Alicia, who is confirmed as a cheating whore, the purity is off a bit. But nevertheless, we're talking archetypes here. There is a really deep horror that Chris is not able to fill his role. It is like super important that it is him who is rendered helpless and unable to protect her when this like violation is like so obviously in sight, and they're just like circling the drain towards it.
By the way,
that inevitable horror I found brilliant. Please.
He had an opportunity to shoot the guy, by the way.
Oh, totally.
Given the position that he put her in when he got to slamming, he had an opportunity. So again, maybe you want to put up the tent shot from before.
Hang on. Yeah, just takes me. Weirdly, they've gone in a weird.
It's almost a mirror of that. Chris sitting there watching, standing there even watching.
So you're saying it's foreshadowing, excellent foreshadowing.
Maybe.
And that's worth a burger or two, isn't it, TCG? I expect your score to go up.
No.
It's like poetry. It rhymes.
But he should have. He could have shot at that point. He didn't. He just watched and waited.
Yeah, he does.
I'm not convinced in you, Chris. Like you could have absolutely. Like I get it. When he's got her by the throat, and the whole like hostage sort of style like grip. Yeah, fine, I get that. You don't want to take the shot, but there's plenty of space between the two of them. A bit, just a couple of moments later, Chris. That's when you shoot your shot.
That was another nitpick. How did he miss Ilya with the shotgun when he had perfect aim with the pistol?
Yeah.
But
well, again, unspecified amount of time. Maybe he went down the range. Again, I can defend that because we don't know how much time has passed, so we don't know how prepared he is for this day. He seems well prepared for it because he kind of.
See, there you go. It's not a problem at all.
Yeah.
I mean, Dylan is on here. I think this is great. Like the whole point of Chris is that he's made passive and he's immobilized, and when he breaks out of that, it's disastrous every time. Like he's passive, just watching the girl he's into get railed in a tent and then marry a guy, and he's like, oh, now I'm going to say something, and he screws it up. And then when he takes action to protect her, he screws it up. And then when he goes funny games, he screws it up. Like Chris is consistent in this. I admire consistency. Distant Night has also commented, sending in 10 Aussie dollars. Thank you so much. Saying,
cheers, man.
Length of trip is not specified. Could have been traveling for months. Disappointed Henry didn't watch. Wanted his position. Oh, I see what chat's talking about. Chekhov's gun. Get him, Chew. Yes. Chekhov's Chekhov's violation. Well, we called it something else in our chat, didn't we?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, DK's followed up with another 5. He should have stepped off after she bolted before the gun, intending to take himself and Jay Jeremy out. Yeah, again, like I think he had opportunities to take out our Danny Baker boy, Ron Jeremy guy, and himself. If he knew he was doomed or if he was done for, that, you know, that's kind of a heroic sacrifice to make, I suppose.
He had a moment to be heroic. I mean, this is one of the things I kind of I was going to disagree about, like Danny and Devi being there. I think it's really important that the threat be something that he could otherwise fairly easily overcome. Like Danny and Devi, if they were intent on violating Alicia and wrecking him, there's really not much he could do about that. But this out of shape Danny Baker looking dude, it's like he could do something, but he's immobilized, and that's what makes it like wonderfully horrific. You just feel how wrong that is. Thanks again for the $5 there. Absolutely true. So yeah, I think this is powerful. I think this is a great source of horror.
I think we agree to disagree on the source of the torture. I still feel like this would have been far more emotionally impactful if Daniel was the one doing it. There's like clear motive for it, you know. There's a direct connection to it, and it also feels like extra layers of evil, as opposed to random drunk Georgian walking his dog.
Fair play. Yeah, you can't really do anything when it's just like so much of this is in the realm of subjective.
Yeah. 100%. Yeah, 100%. It is.
Everyone knows I will instantly give a burger or two for any film that includes someone being punched through. I just like the effect and the Tony Todd modifier that goes in. We all have our indefensible biases, but that's all good. It's all good. Let me throw something out here that I thought was really lovely. I was so sure that when she ran off, we were going to get like a 7 or 8 minute chase scene.
I thought that,
and I was dreading it, being like, "Oh my god!"
I thought that, but I was a bit disappointed that we didn't get that. I felt again. This is just purely opinion. Like again, if you were glad you didn't get that, fantastic. But we talk about bottles. I felt like it was a good opportunity to move the film away from that area and into a different part of the forest, and maybe even like, you know, Alicia potentially like, you know, one up in this guy and stopping him before obviously everything happens. And then we could again focus on getting the bloody guy off the landmine, which is the whole point for me. But obviously it didn't go that way, and obviously it took a much darker tone, which again, don't have a problem with. I don't have a problem with that. I just think the person executing that horrible thing should have been somebody a bit more closely connected, who could have maybe had a bit more of a connection to these two, who could have this is how you betray me, well, this is how I get my own back on you. And then, you know, later on in the film, Chris goes and, I don't know, fucks up Daniel's family. I don't know, but you know what I mean? It's levels of connection. I think is connection for me. And after Daniel buggers off, it just,
I'm kind of wondering if there's like an East v West thing in a country like Georgia. Are you just like more comfortable with an almost like random element? Like you're just like, the world is harsh. There doesn't need to be a personal connection. It's just like,
well, they are in a former Soviet state.
That's what I'm thinking. Is there a tension there? Like that's maybe question for chat. Is that something in there? Because I'm already thinking of like patterns. Like I go east with my horror and I see that from much earlier, they're really chill with just random cruelty.
Yeah.
Like it just happens. You're just unlucky out there. But before we contemplate that, I mean, I haven't really thought deeply about it. You just made me think it there. Murgoot, where are you on that? Did you want a chase scene, or were you chill? What's your thought on
I
this?
wanted a short chase scene, not just flip boom kind of thing. I wanted a little bit more action to it. What Dylan Roth said, I didn't think it dragged. I just thought it was trite and predictable the first 45 minutes, and then it took a turn. I was bored because it was predictable.
That is an interesting one. Like for me, I didn't know what was going to happen with the landmine. Like my prediction was that there'd be some really horrific, almost like accidental set it off. That was where all the film's money was going to go. Like we're going to maybe have some kind of dodgy effect, and the guy's just like, they probably bury him in the ground out there, and then give him a fake blown off lower legs, and that would be kind of a finale. I didn't know what they would do with that, but that was my prediction. But I was so certain that Ilya was going to go into like a sexual violence mode, and that made it really work for me. So
I
100% predictable, but I viewed it as a good thing.
I thought that, I thought it was inevitable what was going to happen to Alicia, but I thought it would be a case of like he leaves Alicia for dead, and obviously after, as he's going at it, I thought he'd step off the mine, boom, he takes himself out. He panics, let's say, and Ilya panics and buggers off, leaving her essentially beaten and battered and whatever, essentially leaving her for dead.
Yeah.
And she might be the one to get the revenge. She might go down the route that Chris went. So I wasn't disappointed, but that was just a guess. But I didn't really know where it was going. But that was for me kind of where I thought it was going. So it was a little bit of a surprise when he blows her head off. Or like Chris shoots Alicia by mistake. And it turns out that the landmine is a dud, which that did disappoint me.
Pure crazy.
Yeah. I mean, the sort of the blue sky version would be that Chris is off the landmine, Ilya is on the landmine somehow. How they would get to that, no bloody idea. But
some kind of awkward swapperoo,
massively contrived reason for him to be on the landmine. And you know what I mean? But obviously that would be too ridiculous. But that would be your kind of way, right? And then they're like, see you later, mate, bugger off. And I don't know, the dog jumps on the geezer or who knows? I don't know.
So, film surprised us at least, eh? Innovative, worth a couple of burgers. Something I want to throw out here is the depiction of the assault itself. I thought was done very, very well.
As in it
effective without being exploitative. There is a nasty trend in especially 70s horror of using these scenes to basically, it's just a chance to show some titties.
Right.
And that is a trend we have very thankfully moved beyond. I don't like to sound like a prude, but I am in many ways. Dishonorable mention to, was it disturbing behavior, which it's like, hey, you like Katie Holmes, you like her boobs, have her being sexually assaulted, but with a nice close-up of the boobs being squeezed. Fine, upstanding movie. No,
I will say I'm not the biggest fan of R-word scenes.
Yeah, it's grim. It should be grim. It should be grim.
Yeah, I remember what was it? The Danny Dyer and Gillian Anderson film. Sorry, 2 seconds.
You have a look at that.
Well,
Oh.
I'm trying to remember the one with
thought it might
Jodie Foster from the early
The Accused.
90s, The Accused.
Decidedly unfun.
I Spit
without
on Your Grave,
showing much.
her roaring rampage of revenge after the middle of I
Straight
Spit on
Heads.
Your Grave.
I
Straight
felt
Heads.
that was
Sorry,
that's a particularly interesting one because that film is trying to talk about the phenomenon, whereas there are others where it's just a bit more, it's just a chance to have boobs out, really. This I felt was good because it's absolutely gross. It's done basically in real time, but you don't really see anything. It's just like clearly very unpleasant.
It's like
that
the
off the
scene
screen now.
Yeah, it reminded me of the scene from Straight Heads when it happens to Gillian Anderson.
Straight Heads.
The only difference is there are a lot more men.
Ooh wee! I don't know this film. Danny Dyer.
Danny Dyer and Gillian Anderson. It is actually quite a good
What
film.
a combo!
Yeah, I know. Who would have thunk?
Is it a good one?
I liked it.
Let me have. I'll put that. I'm just gonna have a quick.
Again, kind of has a bit of a similar thing to this one that happens, and then there's a whole like revenge thing afterwards. It kind of it does. But they're obviously it's a horrible experience, and it's it's one of those things where it's like you kind of follow them in the aftermath of it, and the things that they then do to get their own back, if you will. But yeah, definitely one that I think we should maybe cover once because I haven't seen it in bloody years. But
interested?
Yeah, it's surprisingly, I think, quite a good film. But yeah, I get it. Obviously, you don't. I think there are ways of executing these kinds of scenes. It depends. To be honest with you, I think it kind of depends on the context. Because obviously, if you've got like an absolute animal psycho, yada yada yada, then also they sort of hold back. It kind of wouldn't make sense thematically. But it kind of it kind of works for the kind of person that Ilya is. I think he just gets to a point where he just wants to get it done.
Yeah, he's worked up to it. He's enjoyed it.
Yeah. And now it's time. And I say you it's enough. But yeah, it's not the reason why I hate the movie. I don't even hate the movie. I just so disappointed I didn't get the movie that I wanted to watch.
So, Lawrence is saying The Nightingale was worse for him. That's a follow-up from the director of The Babadook. I never watched it. I gather it's in the same territory. I found the essay scene in Hills of Eyes pretty blooming awful. That was.
Do you know what? That was one of those things where when we went back to the rewatch, God, it's gonna sound horrible, but it didn't strike me. I remember it being worse than what it actually was.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
you imagined it showed a lot more than it did.
Yeah, the effect. The first time I watched it left an impression on me that made me think when I go back to rewatch this, oh God, it's going to be really, really, really bad. And it actually felt. I remember watching it. I was like, this isn't how I remembered it, and that's probably a good thing.
Oh yeah, that's good filmmaking. I mean? That is good filmmaking. It's like you're thinking you're seeing a lot more than you did because it makes such an impression. And these are sort of like one of the few scenes that still get that sort of like visceral, sort of like disgust, unpleasant reaction out of me. I'm not numb to it, thank God. Yes.
Whereas obviously with a lot of horror, when you watch as much horror as we have, and you guys in the chat, you kind of get a little.
I'm sorry for what I've done to you both. I really am.
I still get taken out by jump scares every now and again, but that's because like my nerves, man, I'm on the edge.
So bad, he's still simping for Kevin.
But yeah, it's still one of those things which, and I think because I actively try and avoid stuff like that, that just shows how effective it is when you do sort of like come across it.
Yeah, I don't enjoy it either. Sometimes I think it can be done well. Like Murgoot, The Accused, solid film. Irreversible, I thought was really, really good, but it's not one I recommend to people generally. But then, so yeah, moving on. That it's sort of fully tragic. This does not go where we expect to. But then, the film at about 95 minutes in. No, sorry. It's 1 hour and 1 minute when the landmine is finally resolved. I believe because I mentioning it to a Distant Night, like the whole we've resolved it. The landmine is resolved 1 hour and 1 minute in, and at that point, we're getting this fade out, the image of the mine, dead Alicia, and then we cut forward in time, and we're in basically Dylan, I can't put that on screen. Ooh-wee. John Gar's Tombs of the Blind Dead. Now, am I right? Is that a Spanish one?
Dylan, is that a euphemism?
Is that a Spanish one, I think? I think it might be. Correct me if I'm wrong. Yeah, Laku, I'll defend Serbian film. I quite enjoyed it the one time I watched it. Again, I think it had good use of dread in a way that this movie did. That there was obviously one thing it was building up to, and in that movie's case, I'm extremely glad it did not, in fact, go there. But I spent a good hour of that movie feeling sick to my stomach that it was going to go there. And I think if people are watching, if you've watched the movie, you know what I'm referring to. We may cover it one day.
Hang on.
Because I thought it did have. Hey, look, I'm right. It was the Spanish guy. There we go.
I did watch The Boys last night. Which
yes.
had it was the supernatural reunion episode, I might add, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
But you spend a little
bit. They get Misha Collins in.
Yeah, Misha Collins, Jared Padalecki, and Jensen. They all shared a scene together, which was quite cool. It's just a shame they didn't get the others in because obviously
it better than the Scrubs reunion in Cougar Town?
I've got no idea. I can't compare because I haven't seen it. But yeah, bit disappointed because I don't know, man. I don't know if anybody's watching it or anybody's keeping up with it. Yeah, Distant Night. Don't spoil it. Okay.
All right.
What I will say is we're back to watching Supernatural at home, and we booted up. I think it was season 6, episode 9. Chloe, I only say this because it only starred bloody Robert Englund.
Really?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Robert Englund was there. He was there for the opening scene, and he even did this like cool thing where he was standing there with a syringe, and he was sort of like had it to his sort of hand here, and the needle was sort of poking out. Like, and I thought,
you scamp.
And he was called Dr. Robert as well. So they didn't even bother to. So yeah. So yeah. Yeah.
I'm seeing people in the chat are mentioning The Skin I Live In. We may have reason to discuss that on this very channel. Maybe not for the reason you guys think, but we'll get to it. Okay. Murgoot, could I beg of you a quick summary of this third and final pivot of the movie where it suddenly becomes funny games?
Well, Chris has escaped. He's wandering through Georgia. He befriends a woman and her daughter. He asks for a map. He sits down to eat with them. You discover that he knows that this is Ilya's family, and he gets the map from Ilya after I don't know him. I'm just reading the drawings on the board. Ilya and mother and daughter. and then comes back and takes his revenge on the family. He does things to the wife and daughter, forces up after shooting Ilya in the kneecaps, and that was just, it was suitable. But I agree with the chat that well, Chris wussed out in the end.
He wussed out in the. Oh my gosh.
No, he
Okay.
As they put it, he caught feels and felt bad for it at the end, rather than continuing on his journey of revenge and just leaving. But either way works. I have to say the third act had a lot more action to it than the rest of the film. It really ramped up.
Yeah, they very fair. I mean, I thought one of the good decisions in Ilya is that he is so energetic and so over the top, which helps inject a hell of a lot of energy, which you need in a bottle movie. Like, I have no idea how Ryan Reynolds buried does it, because he can't move. Whereas this, if someone's stuck in one place and they're quite a pacified character, you want energy in the scene. In this section, it's like all the energy comes in. Really good stuff. And also some decent symbolism, I'm going to say. Like, when Ilya sees that Chris has come in and sends him off, we get this lovely long shot of him watching Chris go away. And I'm possibly autisming here, but there's just like, you're given so long to watch this, and it's like this long path that he's on. It's like, okay, this is the road you've taken. It's inevitable. Like the fact there's one path. You know, he really gets to consider where his path has brought him. And he's also surrounded by trees, by fruit, by an orchard he's maintained. It's kind of like a very reap what you sow thing. Okay. I have possibly overthought this.
I don't think so.
You were given so long to look at this that I thought.
I did read it slightly differently and probably a bit more simplistic, if I'm honest with you. I do like your reading. Don't get me wrong. I think it's a really good reading. Probably better than the one I thought. I just thought it was to do. I thought it was just focusing on the sort of like the tension that you had between Ela and Chris and the house, and sort of like that tension, that risk, that danger is now leaving, going away, and you're almost sort of slowly getting the relief from Ela. And I think I think you're just supposed to be almost sort of like, your heart's in your throat sort of moment, like, oh my god, he could completely like unravel everything I've done, and then he goes, and you get that moment of relief.
The shot length does unsettle you. Like, you get used to a grammar of films. They hold so long that you could easily think, is he going to turn around immediately? Is he going to come back? Why haven't they cut? You're thinking, why haven't they cut? Why haven't they cut? Something's going to happen. Why haven't they cut? Yeah, like that's absolutely in there as well, I think.
Yeah.
I
will side with Dr. Prepper though. Excuse me. I think I should have to go to bed. I don't think I'm going to stream tonight now. I'm knackered. Dr. Prepper telling his family what Ela had done and making him live with his wife and daughter, disgusted by and contemptuous of him, would have been a more interesting kind of revenge, in my opinion. I do agree. One of the things that, again, I feel like Chris was incredibly vague when he was trying to expose Ela for the kind of person that he is.
Yeah.
He doesn't really explicitly say what the hell he did. He just mentions that the friend was in trouble and things like this. And Do you know what I mean? It felt incredibly vague. If it was me, man, I'd be like, this is the kind of guy your husband is. And obviously, if Chris is now going down this route, which is why I'm doing this to you because he did it to my friend, it should have been explicit. It should have, because not only are you getting the, oh my God, why is this man attacking us? This isn't why is this random man attacking us? Oh wait, it's not random. Actually, it's two-pronged. My husband's a piece of shit, and he's brought this to our home.
Yeah.
It should disagree, Dylan. I'm with TCG on this, and I actually thought it was going that way. I really thought he was kind of giving Ilya the chance. Like when
I suppose, yeah.
That's what I thought. Murgoot, what did you think about this?
I agree with TCG. It should have been blunt force trauma all the way down, expose everything that he did, explain it while slapping Ilya around a little bit more, literally or figuratively, and just exposing it. And then it should have come to a climax rather than just the vagary of it.
Too much exposition crime. I don't think it has to be like a War and Peace like dialogue delivery. It could just be like, he could be going like, do you know why I'm doing? Do you know why I'm doing this? Because he did this to my friend, and now you're going to get it. Something really simple.
I thought he was going to, but it's the fact that Ilya doesn't step in and confess. And I don't know enough about Orthodox Christianity, but is there an element of confession in Orthodox Christianity?
It's one of the 7 sacraments.
There we go. That's why he's looking at it. Thank you, Murgoot. That's got to be it. Like, the idea is you got to confess, and he's being given the opportunity to confess, but I think he's not explicitly requested. Because like the thing of he makes an excuse, I drink, I get crazy, and he sounds exactly like that, by the way. That's the best Georgian accent. My accent is actually better than his. But then Chris immediately takes up that excuse and gives everyone a drink and says, "Oh, I guess I'm getting crazy too."
Do you know
it's
what?
Like he was baiting
that
him
was
to
that was
actually
cool.
confess. Yeah,
that
was cool.
that I did like that. Do you know what? This was the best that I thought Chris was. I don't even care. To me, it's like this man, this Ilya person, eroded this man's humanity, any sort of compassion, and he has turned Chris into the very monster that this man is. So I am completely on board with the idea of him inflicting the same kind of pain on Ilya that he imposed. He did to Chris and Alicia through Alicia. I'm completely on board with that. I still think it should have been. Again, I'll go back to it. It should have been Daniel and Debbie. That's what it should have been. But for what it's worth, I think I was interested to see how far this was going to go. And it was actually some of the best acting from this film. The way that he was, it's just crazy. He would just sort of switch to sort of like, it reminded me of Eminem, Kim, the song Kim. The way he just sort of like changes from like sort of hi Kim, bitch,
the intro to
like
that.
To like polite, to then it's just like he was completely unpredictable and things like that. But then he gets snapped back to sort of reality when he plays.
Snap back to reality, yeah.
When he doesn't even call it Russian roulette, which again annoys me. I can't remember what he called it, but I know he didn't call it Russian roulette.
Yeah,
but he literally plays Russian roulette and
stripper roulette. He called
stripper roulette. That's it.
Yeah, I mean, this again. I will stand up for this film. This is horrific because when he's repeating Ilya's actions on his own family, there's an extent to which it's justified.
Well, I don't think it's justified. I don't think it's justified.
You can see the logic. You can see
there's
the
logic.
Yeah.
Twisted logic.
Logic is better than justified. Let's go with that.
Yeah.
But it's also, you then exactly know the path that he's going on.
Yeah.
And you're not looking at Alicia. You're looking at a girl who I think is like, 15 or something?
I think, yeah. I think they say she's 15, yeah.
Like, it's something like that. And you're like, movie, please do not go here.
And exactly. He's going levels beyond. If he's recreating,
movie, I can turn this off. But
if he's recreating that stuff, it's like, oh my god,
we know it's going there. So again, efficient dread, very good horror generation, and the daughter is absolutely lovely. Seeing her being forced to, take her knickers off and then pick them up it's so nasty.
We talked about purity earlier in the stream, right?
She's
now
actually
we established
presumably.
Alicia. Yeah, Alicia isn't because of the sins that her and Chris got up to.
Yeah,
but this girl genuinely did nothing wrong,
Mm-hmm.
and so and the same with the mother. So there is actual innocence and purity being defiled, destroyed. Yeah, in many ways, Chris goes further than what Elon had done. If you're talking from a spiritual level, and I also want to put it to you: what if the snap to reality here wasn't 100% what have I done, but more where do I go from here? I can't recreate anymore. What can I do?
Yeah, he can't follow. He can't follow the path anymore because he's gone off the path. Yeah. I wasn't sure because after this, I mean, this great shot, it just ends with chunky Justin Timberlake looking absolutely bereft.
Justin Lumberjake.
Hey, I like that.
Lumberlake.
Like he says, he's gone further than Ilya. I mean, both of these are like the random violence put on each other, and if we want to be thematic, the thing about a landmine is there is a random element. It's not targeted. You may step on it, you may not. Like you saying that Chris is the landmine 100%. He is the landmine. We'll fade out on a little shot of it again after we spend a long time zooming in on him.
Yeah.
But I thought this was so strong. This for me was great. He's worse than Ilya. He's got his revenge, and now he's just sort of, oh, I actually did it. Now where do I go? Yeah. It's brutal. It's really brutal. Murgoot takes on this? What's causing Chris to be depressed here?
Just the realization that he's crossed all the lines, and I don't think it's where do I go from here. It's, oh crap, I crossed that line too many times. And the horror is starting to seep in.
But again, what do you expect? Idiot, not you, but Chris, this idiot, man. Like you're just an idiot. Just a stupid idiot.
Dylan has thrown in, it doesn't matter. So on the discussion of morality, it doesn't matter. We pay for our parents' sins in real life, whether we think it's right or not. I'm quite sympathetic to that it is a certain, how can I say? I read a book a while ago called The Problem of Inequality, which basically made the case that you can't go, it's a book about economics and talks about the Gini coefficient far more than you'd ever want it to. But it effectively comes very early to the conclusion that you cannot go for the whole equality of opportunity, not equality of outcome. It can't happen, because if you don't give people the exact equal stuff, they aren't getting the same opportunity. And it was very persuasive about that. So you either go all the way down that line or you basically abandon it. Guess what people on this channel do? There's a kind of hard-edged reality to the statement that Dylan is totally correct about. It may be immoral or not strictly just, but it is just the way of the world. this film that engages with that. I mean, something that bothered me throughout was why they spent so much time talking about Russia invading Georgia. The film's not hugely flattering about Georgians, but I wondered why they spent so much time talking about it instead of having a go at Russia. And I was thinking, was that just sort of
it was
topical at the time? Is it because it's a Georgian director?
What was it?
Or is he
2015?
kind of
So-
making a point? Is
Well,
he
there
kind
was
of making
only
a
a
point
couple
that these
years
big forces
after-
just come in, and you can't really talk about the morality of it?
wasn't
I mean,
fair. The Ossetia, the province of Ossetia, was taken by Russia, and it was recent. It was only a couple years before this movie was made. They took the province of Ossetia, which was essentially pro-Russian, so it was no big deal. And they tried to push on to the capital of Georgia. And the whole thing should have been a big clue about the invasion of Ukraine, because Russia had to stop the invasion because they ran out of gas for their tanks and their trucks in a small state like
This
Georgia.
was back in 2015, right? Yeah, because I was going to say
2012, thereabouts.
2012. Yeah, so I was going to say, because it was around about that time. I know it's a few years removed, but yeah, I was going to say, would there have been any sort of overlap between the Russia-Ukraine thing going on and maybe what Georgians thought of that?
I think the
suppose they-
logic is
I
the
suppose,
same.
would it be right to think that they'd be sympathetic towards the Ukrainians?
Yeah.
Because essentially they've got a shared goal. They don't want to become part of another USSR, I'm assuming, right? So it's...
Yeah.
So there's a camaraderie there, if you will.
Yeah, but I do wonder if there's a thing in there about just recognizing that these great forces come and wreck you. In this case, like a big foreign force. In this case, an American just comes and wrecks your house, and you just kind of have to. It's not moral, but it happens, and you just have to face it. I kind of think the film is getting at that. Kind of think it's going on there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But possibly I'm overthinking it, because I'll confess, in 2026 I'm watching this movie, and I am not a Russia simp, but I am tired of how they've been made, like the uber villains are like that have no points whatsoever, and I'm like,
Well, they have
Really?
points, but they're just not great. They took Crimea in 2014, 2015 because they
Crimea
could.
River.
Crimea
Hey.
was fairly sympathetic to the Russian side, maybe, or not maybe, but because of the Russian Navy bases there, they made all their money. They married into the Russian families. And then the latest attempt at Ukraine, Donetsk, is very much Russian ethnic versus Ukraine ethnic. It's geopolitics and it's messy.
At the same time, like, yeah, it's
So-
all messy, and I don't know, man. I just don't feel as a Brit I can really talk about invading other countries on questionable pretenses. I'm
Yeah, but let's be honest. We go in, we improve them. Infrastructure.
Well,
Well, we
I think
didn't
we should
invade the
improve
Falklands.
ourselves.
The
It'd be nice if we can improve ourselves.
the only things that they'll say the only things that we beat in the Falklands were the Penguins and the Argies in '82. So
Yeah.
but yeah, I mean, that's just like you say, it's geopolitics. I'm sorry, but like nothing has been static since the start of civilization. It's moved. It's there's claims all over the place. There's no fixed sort of period. It's just whoever holds the keys to power holds them. So it is what it is.
Yeah, that is one of the hard realities of elite theory and geopolitics. It is just like the morality doesn't come into it. It is who has power, and justifications follow. So what you gonna do?
Exactly. What are you gonna do?
But I genuinely didn't think I'd make an hour in this. I thought that migraine had kicked my backside so thoroughly. I think we've done very well.
I think we have, yeah.
Yeah. Dylan, yeah, I mean, we're getting into Nietzschean territory, aren't we? Sort of master morality and slave morality. I think that is kind of, there's quite a lot to that. There is quite a lot to that, you know.
No, I won't pretend I'm well read on any of these things. I'm not, so I will just take your words for that. I just
well, think of it as maybe something you'll have heard of is the equivalent of, when I'm in power, I appeal. When you're in power, I appeal to your mercy.
Oh yeah,
because
yeah.
That is your morality.
Yeah.
When I am in power, I enforce my will because that's my morality.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I'm familiar
it's
with
the equivalent of you countries that could not enforce a war will plead for peace, etc., etc.
Yeah.
America and her allies will do things for democracy around the world in very select countries.
I've watched Team America, so you know if that.
America, F yeah.
Of course. But yeah, okay. Well, I guess now's the crunch time, folks. To make my nausea is coming up again, I'm afraid. So I'm going to sort of move us towards a close so we don't have an abrupt migraine cancellation. The question is upon us. Having had such a great discussion in which so many strengths of the film were raised, and we basically ran out of time to praise it because there was so much that we all loved about it. What are our scores on the doors, guys? Scores and closing thoughts.
It was well photographed. They did an okay job with the dual bottle scenario, the wilderness, and then Ilya's home. They did do a good job with that. Too many nitpicks that I had with things. And like I said, the first act dragged for me just because it was trite. I give it 6 burgers, no cheese, and a whole bottle of just absolute nasty pickles.
Oh yeah, rancid gherkins. 6. Okay. All right. I'll take that. How about yourself, TCG?
If this was the film that I wanted it to be, it would have easily been a 10 or 11 burgers at a push. The first act hooked me in. Yeah, love it. It's going exactly the way I want it to. It set up a little conflict resolution bit for later on, and all that stuff. Done it all very well up to that point. And then we get the second act. And the plot holes, the issues that I have with this film, unfortunately, completely took me out of it. I didn't like it. Purely because it's not the film that I was hoping to see. And I feel like they should have gone in a different direction with this film. Random Georgian man, for me, ain't that guy. It should be random Georgian guy that Daniel knows, and Daniel. They should have been they should have been the antagonists for this. I don't like the fact that Daniel isn't seen again after the film, after he exits stage left. Don't like that at all. He should have been one of the people that Chris got his own back on. Don't see that happen. Very, very disappointing. This scene, loved it. It was good. But again, I've just felt like after the disappointment of finding out who the bad guy was supposed to be in this film, in Ela, I was like, man, it was a wasted opportunity for me. 6,
Ooh.
7.5. No. I saw a 6. I'm obviously sorry. I heard a 6. I heard a 7.5 from Laiku, but I'm only going to give it a 4. I was so disappointed.
I'll take a 4. I'll take a 4.
was
That's
so
all right.
disappointed.
I can live with that. I can live with a 4.
It's a disappointing burger, I'm afraid.
Mm.
The cheese is an absolute dud. The only saving grace is the ketchup, because there's a bit of ketchup towards the end. I'm sorry, but I appreciate people will like this film for other reasons, and I'm completely on board with that. Having said that, what I will say, because it is a divisive film in terms of the opinions tonight, I would recommend it. My experience of it should not sully others from going and watching it, because I genuinely feel like people will walk away with a different opinion just based on the conversation tonight. What people are saying in the chat. And maybe I could go back and watch it and see it through a different lens, but just the plot holes with Daniels, that like all of that stuff, just really sort of it didn't make sense, and it just felt like it was forgetting its own lines. It was forgetting things that it only did moments before. So yeah.
Okay, that I can see it. And
it's the rare one where I'll give it below a 6, but I will still recommend it.
I think that's an important distinction. I didn't like it, but you might, and it's doing something interesting. So I'll go for that. And I'm not going to lie, you picked up on plot holes I had. Yeah. I was being a bit too charitable to them. So yeah, I can't lie. Like, the setup for the scenario is pretty bad, and when that scenario is relevant thematically but not necessary, then yeah, I can. It does make it a bit worse, because it did not need to be a landmine. But anyway, what am I coming out at? I was hesitant, knowing it was a bottle movie. And I was it would have been better if I were not like watching it on a legally purchased copy, because I was very aware of the time, and I was checking it like, how are they going to make this last an hour? How are they going to make this last 50 minutes, etc.? That distracted me a bit, but the film reinventing itself constantly in 3 big arcs was a very good decision. Cinematography great, lovely long shots, very good performances, I'm going to say. Some nice jokes in there. There is a lot to love. But admittedly, I have a liking for this kind of deep dread horror, maybe more than other people. I'm very happy with a symbolic landmine. People expecting an actual landmine explosion. It's probably like, let's all admit it, you watched Saw to see a guy hack his foot off, and what you actually got, due to budget, was not all that much of it. I'm very sympathetic to people who feel disappointment on that basis. I'm also warmer on funny games than the average bear, so that also affects my rating. So I think this had a lot of originality. It knew to not drag out its format too long, and it kept a level of horror that I found was powerful but sensitively handled. For all those reasons, I like it a lot, but also, yeah, there are some pretty big problems in it. I think it lands at a very generous 8.5. I would absolutely recommend people see it if they're into the harder horror. But yeah, I enjoyed it. There we go. Less than the 6 million burgers Dylan is recommending. Joe's gone for a -10. Yeah, Joe hates anything torture porny, so I totally get it.
Dylan,
Dr.
are we
Pepper,
sure
not one
it was
over.
6 million burgers? Are we sure of that? How sure are we of that number, that specific number?
Just seems like a lot.
Seems
Dr.
like a very high
Pepper has
number.
gone for 6 out of 12. Far more measured. Lakeview at 7.5. I'll take it. This is very, very, very splitting the audience, and that's fine. That's what we like. All right, folks. So there is our review of Landmine Goes Click. As I said, the panel are split, but
We are. Bloody hell! I don't think
much good discussion out of it.
I don't think the panel's been that we've been a split on a film. In I can't really think of the last time we were this split.
I used to keep a little spreadsheet of it, but I don't think I ever recorded our individual scores. I wonder if Grok could do it for us.
Oh,
Just get like a producer table of the scores for every movie. There's what we do.
God.
Well, people are asking, and we have hit the 2-hour mark, so I should bring this to a close. I will say that your horror homework for next week has been decided by channel members. Remember, you can join as a channel member and help decide as well. We are going to be focusing on horror leaking into other genres, or another way of saying that is these are going to be horror movies in disguise. That's something in another genre that really is sneaking in horror aesthetics or horror stylings. It's going to be it's going to be an interesting one. We're going into some weird places with it. I don't know how you guys are going to feel about it. I assure you that I view all of these films as horror movies. But I hope I can persuade you on it. They're films that have taken on the horror stylings, the power of horror was too much to deny. Where are we going first?
Are we going with Shriek, if you know what I did last Friday,
We are.
Saturday the 3rd, or whatever it's called?
Oh, no. I wasn't thinking of that. I was going to give us a weird one, and I want to offer it to Murgoot to make the choice.
Oh, okay.
To kick us off, would you like Shame, starring Michael Fassbender and Carey Mulligan, A Tale of a Nymphomaniac? Or would you like Clint Eastwood's High Plains Drifter?
High Plains Drifter.
Oh, I want an info.
Oh, we'll get to it.
Good.
High Plains Drifter. I can talk all day about High Plains Drifter.
Sweet. In that case, there we go. I believe it is 1973. 1973 for High Plains Drifter, but I mean, you're not going to have a hard time finding that. So yes, in these goings down, absolutely become a member. Always. Under the Silver Lake is a movie I absolutely adored. The balls on that film, fabulous. Yes.
Interesting film there.
Oh, great. A film about how conspiracies don't reel, that is full of hidden messages. I love it. Dylan Roth absolutely begging us to cover Shame. Don't worry, we will. I'll give you the hint. So it is. We're definitely doing High Plains Drifter. Let's do Shame after that. And I had a few candidates. People had some good suggestions, so I'm tempted to change my list. But we will. We'll be doing that. So excellent choice, Murgoot. High Plains Drifter, and we'll do Shame next week. So Distant Night has sent a final super chat. Thank you ever so much. 10 Aussie dollars saying, oh man, 9 run through ketchup splattered burgers. Just don't just become a member, become a double member. Get well, Chew. Yes, indeed. You could be an absolute Chad and support me on here and on Subscribestar if you want to really knock it out the park. I will say that on Subscribestar, they take a lower cut. Which I certainly appreciate. The 30% YouTube tax is brutal. Oh, look at this absolute classic brought back.
High Plains Drifter sounds like a film that we previously covered. Those who know.
Absolute vintage memes.
God,
thank you again, Disney, and thank you all of you. Thank you, DCG, for bringing up the classic meme.
Brilliant.
All right, folks. Well, I survived migraine. You had your review of of Landmine Goes Click. Thank you. And you got your horror homework. We're watching High Plains Drifter. Thank you so much, TCG and Murgoot. This was a fun one.
Yeah, pleasure as always. Thank you very much. And chat, you have been amazing as always. Even if we've disagreed, still love you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right, folks. Have a lovely Friday, and I hope you got a wonderful weekend ahead of you after that. Enjoy the horror homework. And if any of you are watching this film on the basis of our stream, kudos. I hope you let us know what you think. Thanks,
Please
y'all.
do.
Cheers.